Honestly, I've stopped counting. Okay, so are there any questions about who cannot, who can and who should? Parang okay lang yun, no? Pero who cannot go? Maybe we should go back to that a little bit. What my experience over the last so many years working with you is that let's see, not too many, but they say the Cursillo will be good for this person, Father. Meaning to say that they're trying to reform that person, and that is not the purpose of the 3-day weekend. So my answer is, why don't you work with that person and maybe next year? But because otherwise we become a reform, di ba? Papayakin lang natin. But that's not the purpose of the Cursillo movement. So think of it that way, no? If someone really... The other thing, often enough, is marriage issues. People who are not married within the church. My judgment is always like this, and we discuss this with Deacon Steve very often, because not all cases are the same. The most, parang I always say, are you preparing to get married somehow soon? Once they say that, then I ask, what have you done? Are you going through whatever process there is? If there is goodwill, then I say it's okay. Why? Because I look at the heart. God looks at the heart, not the externals. But as long as I notice goodwill, they're not saying that I don't really care about getting married in the church. Well, in which case you shouldn't care about the Cursillo either. But that's how I would. So those are two things that very often I get phone calls about. Psychological problems, that's your judgment. I'm reminded that there are so many we are wearing of the green, St. Patrick. One of the priests in our, we are 5 of late, we're in retirement. There are 5 of us. One is a retired Irish talaga, all the way from Ireland. 30 years in Our Lady of, St. Rose of Lima. St. Rose of Lima. Anyway, so joke this morning, Irish joke. You want an Irish joke?
Sure.
Okay, here's the first Irish joke. He says, priest goes to around like this. Do you want to go to heaven?
Yes.
Do you want to go to heaven? Yes. And then he went to this Irishman and said, do you want to go to heaven? Not right now. Or do you... Another joke, and this will be the last one, so don't worry. Have you heard about, that they pray to St. Patrick to find a parking space? You have not heard that? Well, it is true. There was this Irishman who was looking, galit na, no parking. St. Patrick, give me his parking space. And all of a sudden, he found a parking space. He looked up again to St. Patrick and says, never mind, I found Okay, what I'm going to do now is follow up on something that I've mentioned to you a couple of times, maybe individual, but not in a group like this. This is sort of to help. How do we improve our recruitment program? Kasi there's a problem all the time, no? Number of candidates. Here's one thing that I had in mind. It is a way by which us who are spiritual directors get in contact with people in your mind. We'll call them prospects, not candidates yet, but just prospects. Here is the way it works. If you have anyone in your mind whom you think could be a Cursillista, just anyone, friend, or friend of friends, I will ask you, Deacon Steve and myself will ask you, as someone has given already, give me the name and address of that person. And then I will write that person using this letter that's being given to you now. And what I would like you to do is tell me whether this is a good idea, whether it can work. Number two, whether this letter expresses or is the best way to say what should be said to someone who is a prospect. What I mean by a prospect is the one who can go and who should go, but you haven't even approached that person, you don't know how to approach that person, but you know na pwede talaga sana, no? So what do I do? I'll give the name and address to me and to Deacon Steve, and then we will write a form letter that will say what that thing you're receiving now. Basically it says, well, you read it yourself. I found one.
See?
Okay, let's read it together. Dear Juana de la Cruz, your name has been submitted to us, meaning to say us spiritual directors, as someone who has potential for leadership in the Catholic community. And that is a wonderful gift from God. We would like to invite you to attend the 3-day Cursillo weekend so that you can explore and develop that gift. Enclosed are an informational brochure, do we have one, don't we? Like a little brochure? Okay. Enclosed is a brochure, where are we? Brochure, and call us with any question you would like to discuss. This one I do not like myself. Call us. Ang daming tatawag, no? Maybe call the normal account. We invite you to respond to this call by submitting your application to Sister Norma via email and so on. If you prefer to send it via US mail, Sister Norma's address is so and so. Do not hesitate to call, email us if there's anything we can do to be of help. And then Deacon Steve and myself will sign this. So number one, do you think this can work? Is it something that you are willing to cooperate with? Because I cannot just write to everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
For example, Sister Faye just gave me 2 names. 3 ba yun? 3 names, and Deacon Steve and I will, so what do you think you get on? And then we will send the letter. Okay, sige.
I was just thinking, shouldn't we say who has submitted the name?
That's a good question, and that was a question I was going to ask. Will you be embarrassed? Would you like us, Faye Quinto has submitted your name to someone. It's okay? Because if you want privacy, it's okay with me.
Yeah, it will appear like a junk mail if you don't put
Sa bagay, ano?
Yeah, I'll be scared to respond to you, not knowing who gave my name to you. Yeah.
So you think, any objection to the idea, if you give me, we will put another blank here.
Yes, yes.
Submitted, or maybe we can say, Faye Quinto has told me that you are.
Faye Quinto has submitted to us your name as someone. Make it more.
Can we reward that thing, because you cannot submit your application through email?
We invite you to respond to this call by submitting your application. This is via email. Pwede ba yan?
No.
Normal? Hindi pwede. Supalitan to.
Kasi may soft copy dapat pa eh. So you can submit it to email eh.
Or maybe, that may be too early. Why don't we just say, call this person for more information, instead of sending an application form right away. It's too tacky, So, ganun na lang siguro.
We have also an issue. If we should know the candidate before giving it to you.
Tama. Yeah, don't just give anyone's name.
No. If we private and then we say, you are not eligible.
Oh, tama. Yeah. Make sure that if you submit a name, you already know na walang problema. Because look at what we said, we certified that. So make sure that on your own, you try to see that walang problema. Otherwise, mahirap.
Some other days, whoever is making the recommendation should get in touch with Sister Norma to discuss,
No,
No?
mayroon namang yung who can and who should, and those who cannot. Maybe, don't we have a print out of that?
There is a booklet,
In the booklet, oo.
$2. $2.
$2. And I print out my talk today, so anybody can have it.
Yan. Okay. So, sandali, mayroong question doon.
Ale Mario.
Sige, Mark.
Yeah, Father, perhaps it's also a good idea to have a discussion with your prospect about the Cursillo, so that when we give the name to you, you can probably mention that there's it's being discussed, and so it's not like sending a letter to someone who was just given, not knowing what the Cursillo is about.
So, anong sequence? The first thing is you will give us a name and I will call you and we will talk about it.
Perhaps I will say your name was given by Mario, for example, and you have a discussion about the Cursillo, a brief discussion about the Cursillo, period, and then move on.
So yours is kind of like a
Parang
follow-up.
you must already have talked to the prospect.
Yes.
Okay. What I was trying to do is to bypass that embarrassment of talking to someone first. Parang, you know what I mean? I'm sure there are many people here who know people, but you don't know how to approach them. Pero kung maunahan natin with another letter, maybe it will help. That was my idea. And then after that, they can discuss. The Cursillo. Yes.
I think we shouldn't be embarrassed discussing Cursillo. We should be transparent and tell it like it is.
Okay. If you want to do that, it's okay with me too. As long as you feel good about doing it, Because here's what's in my mind. We don't get enough prospects even from you. There are not even prospects. And I do not think the Catholic Church is like that. There's so many prospects. How come we don't get those names? How come? And I don't know. So I thought this would help, that you're in a parish, you're working in a committee, this one would be a good candidate. And then you write down address, and then you tell us, email us, name, address. Father, could you write? Because I think okay talaga to.
Well, why don't we try both approaches? I mean, because it seems like this is like what you're saying. This is for people that we might think are good candidates, but we don't really know them that well. So at least, like you're saying, we can go ahead and get more names of who, possibilities. And like we've always done, we can tell our own friends ourselves, and then, whether we send a letter or not, we kind of already know their background, and like you mentioned, we already know whether they're qualified or not. But I really like this idea because it does broaden the spectrum of the people that we will be contacting.
Okay. Her suggestion then is bring together Mario's suggestion. Two possibilities. If you already talked to the person, fine. We will still write, but it's not a requirement to talk to that person. But if you find someone, you just do not know too well, just give us the name and address, and we'll hope for the best. Ray?
Just concerned, Father. Assuming that my name is given out, then my first reaction is, how did you get my address?
Yeah, good point. Good point. Good point. Yeah. So that's maybe why we should put the name.
That's like breaking trust with somebody that you have given your name to, or even address to. Or if that person didn't even ask for that address, I think it becomes awkward.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. How do you solve that idea? A person might present, where did you get my phone number, not my address? Did you have an idea?
Well, the way I looked at the letter, and this is subjective, if I need help, Father Arong's intervention to get her coming to the Crucillo because I'm not doing a good job. No, I'm not in a way successful. I'm actually leveraging Father Arong. So before I would even give the name, I make sure that she is aware that someone would be, one of our spiritual directors be talking to her if there are questions that I did not answer, probably Father Arong or brothers, Deacon Steve would be able to answer. And then it's a preempted that there is already a talk between my candidate and I. So this is not a surprise letter for them.
Yeah, to me that's best. Been preparing.
Okay, Kathy?
You know, what we do in our group is we invite them to our group reunion. We talk about Crucillo, we invite them in a group reunion, we invite them to the Ultrea, so that they kind of have like a feel of it. They kind of know what's going on. And this is somebody that we did not find off the street. We know, like, we have a candidate that's going to this year's weekend. We invited her to the Ultrea. We already know that she is in the scripture study. We already know, we already have the development in those things. So that's what we do, because I don't, because she asked me, it's like, what is Crucillo? To be honest with you, I explained to her, but in order for you to have that spiritual high, you have to experience it. So giving them a little glimpse of it, I think works.
Oh, that's true. I fully agree with that. Yes. But so then what happens? We'll write a letter to that person or what?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would
Okay.
help.
I'll give it
A rate?
Another suggestion, Father, because then the approach is becoming different now. It's now an invitation rather than here, the name just surfaced as a person being a potential for being. So I think the letter needs to be rewritten in that fashion, reworded. That it is you have. It's like that person has already shown interest, and we're just following up on that interest.
Yeah, but she's saying here that there should be two ways. One is someone who has not gone through the experience of being in an Ultrea, and the other one who has. Then we have two letters actually to write, different kinds of letters. Yeah.
It's an invitation. I think this letter is not an invitation of somebody who's interested in the Crucillo.
It is.
Yeah, well, this one is not.
Exactly.
However, there was another, in other words, she's suggesting that we should have two types of letters. One is for those who are already interested and just give them a push. And the other one is just someone who's known to the person, maybe mention the Crucillo, and then out of the cold, we will just write the letter.
This one may cause resentment.
Yeah, I think so.
I second that.
Okay, okay. In which case, we will not write the letter.
The invitation is great because then the person already knows, has already shown interest.
Yeah, okay.
I think the bottom line is we should aim for quality, not quantity.
Yeah, I agree with you, but we don't have a selection field. We don't have a field to select from. Yes.
I mean, sometimes you wait for, wait for somebody to say yes. It can take 2 years, 3 years, 10 years. So, you know what I mean? And like, the way I see this letter is, say, for example, like, I see the store, the store owner of the Catholic store around the corner from my church, and I think it's a really great person. They seem to, they already own, a Catholic store, a bookstore. So, it's somebody that I feel like, hey, this would be good to invite to Crucillo. So, you know what I mean? I've already had some kind of contact with them because I know their name, and you can ask for their address. So it's not 100% cold call. But the point is, when you're choosing people, you have to have 3